I'd like to call this a special meeting for this one agenda item of the budget to order, if you don't mind, if you call the roll, please. Angela.
Ms. Pat Donahue, Mr. Eric Jones.
Here.
Mr. Josh Monday.
Here.
Ms. Beth Lawson.
Here.
Ms. Vicki Heatherly.
Here.
Mr. Lloyd Lawson.
Here.
Mayor Chambers.
Here. I think as we discussed from the last workshop, this being our kind of our first and last opportunity to before Angelita's gone next week to do our first reading and try to make our deadline of this June 30th to submit to the state. That's why we called it for tonight. There is nothing different, not changed a thing in here from what we looked at actually the last two times that we've met, except for the additional $3,000 that went into sanitation that wasn't in time before last. So what I want to do right now, I guess, is open it up for any comments or questions before we call for the question. If we want to have a short discussion before we call for the question. I'll start with something that I did today. I spoke with Brad Harris, who is the financial advisor for Impasse. Brad's been around quite a while with Impasse, 30 plus years. He works with cities and towns, primarily East Tennessee, but his area has expanded into Middle Tennessee to cover others. So he's covering quite a bit of the state from a financial standpoint. And I asked him about this model that we've discussed and we've discussed. And he used the town of Englewood, which is just outside of Sweetwater. It's either in Monroe County or McMinn County. I'm not sure which it's in, and I did not look that up. But Englewood is a town of about 1,500. They have a budget of about 1.5 million. And they use this model of, and they went to this in the early 2000s, of changing from the exact same structure as we are, the mayor-alderman structure, to the city administrator. And now their city administrator does manage their water department also, in addition to the town. But I spoke to him today, and the reason I bring this up, if anyone wants to have the conversation with this gentleman directly, he said he would even be glad to come up here if we would like for him to come up. I told him I didn't think that was necessary to be in person. But he said he'd be glad to be on a call and explain what they went through as a town and the change that they made. And they actually use an outside accounting firm. And what was interesting about this, of what he said, was he said today, in today's accounting environment, and I didn't think about this earlier, he said it's so difficult to find someone that is a qualified accounting candidate. Now, what I'm going right here for a second is in reference to a city recorder that would be the financial person for the town, because this gentleman acts as both the recorder and the town administrator. He does have someone, and it's somewhat the same position as what Angelita's regular position is. He has that person do just the minutes, just record the minutes, and comes to the meeting and records the minutes. But he acts as the financial person, as the recorder. But he is a CMFO, but they farm that out to a firm that's similar to the MG Group. They used to use the MG Group. Person that was with the MG Group left. They followed the person because they had the relationship and they're using them. I didn't get the name of it, but he didn't have an issue with MG Group overall. But if there is a town similar in size, similar in budget, There is one that exists, and the one that's been using this now for, it sounds like about 15 years plus. And I'm not gonna get any deeper into it than that. He told me what his take on it was. It was positive. There wasn't anything negative about it. But I want to open that up. If anyone wants that information, I can either have Angelita send it out in an email, or I can give it to you personally and give you his information. So I want to start with that, is if there's anything anyone wants to say on that subject, floor is open.
I think normally the discussion would have been after the motion was second, but since we're here now, I guess Inglewood does have a property tax, correct?
He didn't say, I didn't ask.
I think if you research it, they do.
But
Just throwing that out there.
anyone else? So with that said,
Just send it to an email, in an email. Because, like you said, anybody has any questions.
Who's the mayor of Inglewood? Do you know?
I didn't ask him. I mean, I'll send this to you.
Okay.
This guy's name is, hang on a second, I'll tell you. His name is Robert, but he goes by Joe Klein.
I mean, it's separate than the budget. Even if you pursue the city administrator, it has to come back in front of the board. That's the way the charter is right now, right? Has to come back and be approved by the board. Regardless if it's in a budget or not, it has to come back forward to the board. That's the way the charter is, that the board appoints the city administrator.
Yeah, so it would go through a process.
Yeah, right, it would go through
It
a
would go through
process.
a
So, I mean,
process.
it's totally separate than passing a budget. It's still gotta come back. Still gotta have votes to
Pretty-
hire it and approve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The job description has to be set forth by, or may be set forth by the council, the description and all that as well.
And that's kind of what I was getting at in the workshop the other night. You know, those things it's in the charter. Well, there's no possible way we're gonna get around that. That stuff has to be set. And I don't think there's a problem setting that, right?
But you gotta have money there before you can.
Yes,
actually
right,
do
yeah,
it.
that's what I'm
So
saying.
you gotta have your budget
Right.
before you.
Yes, 100%. After,
It's just not something, if, when, whatever the budget passes, that can be started being advertised and hired immediately, correct?
I would think that you'd have to have,
Until we get a job description, 100%.
Is that correct,
Yes.
Mayor?
I don't know.
According to the charter, it is. I just,
Well, if you already knew it, why'd you ask?
well, I just wanted it to be on record that we're not gonna hire it come Monday or come whenever the budget passes.
So that's what it is, and
I mean, you can advertise for anything. Just, you know, and I think you should. I mean, you can advertise. I mean, they've advertised for a sales officer and never got hired here, right? Advertised that for 2 years and never got hired. So, I mean, there's two different, you have to be able to separate those. That's the way I look at this, right? The budget's separate from what we're moving forward with.
And like we talked about the other night, though, is, I mean, if we go ahead and put it in there and pass the budget, I mean, the budget is the biggest thing right now. We need to pass it. If it's in there, we don't have to come back later and do a budget
Right.
amendment and things like that.
Yep.
So you might as well put it, I mean, and if we decide that after we've passed the budget, if that's not the road we want to take, then it still sits there, and then next year when we go start doing the budget, we're like, okay, well, we had this money appropriated in there, we're not gonna do that this time, or whatever, you know? It is not like we have to use it, we're just putting it in there.
And here's the thing, I went back and looked at, I wasn't here for April, or for May's meeting, but I went back and looked at the April budget that was presented in that meeting. We're only at 57% budget this city. So unless, for some odd reason, in 2 months, we spend 50% of that budget,
Right.
there's gonna be, quite a bit of money left over. So, I know we
Repair and
work,
Maintenance of the building, without that repair and maintenance in there, I don't think that's gonna be used.
well, you're right, and so that budget, it's obviously that budget, it goes back to this. There's gonna be enough money left over to balance anything out we got, unless somebody goes crazy spending. And that's for everybody to, you keep eye on, make sure that don't happen.
Ever since, last time, 2 months ago, we looked at that one, it didn't seem real, did it?
It don't seem real, right? I mean, I said the same thing, it didn't seem real, but that's the numbers.
So
So,
it was, we
Yeah,
figured
we
from,
looked at it,
a couple of years prior to that, it was
Yeah.
pretty much right on, and we are, what was we had?
But now-
Something or something.
but we're down, we've been down probably 2 people for a while. And then you've got this one, you've got several months of not having a city recorder. So I can see how some of that is, right? But anyways, that's just something I've seen. I've probably done some homework today.
Glad you did. All right, so with that said, call for the question. I hear a motion to pass the first reading.
I'll make a motion to pass it on first reading, the budget as presented.
I'll second it.
When you're ready, Angelica, call her up.
Okay, Miss Pat, sorry, Mr. Eric Jones,
No.
Mr. Josh Monday,
Yes.
Miss Beth Lawson,
Yes.
Miss Vicky Heatherly, Mr. Lloyd Lawson,
No.
Maybe so.
Mayor Chambers.
Yes. Motion passed. I think that's the only thing we got on the agenda, right? So with that said, do I hear a motion to adjourn? And a second.
I said.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.